Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Today I've got the page of coins as the obstacle and the six of coins as the opportunity. Those were the Marseille cards. These are the Waite, the Rider Waite Smith cards. This one's interesting. Anyway, let's get started with the obstacle. I like this design. I like the Marseille design. I like the I like interpreting this in the sense that this is someone who, nonetheless, while inexperienced, is is able to, do some prospecting, some evaluation. He's he's got his hands on the real deal. He's got that thing of value. He is nonetheless missing out on another coin that is, depending on how we interpret the perspective, could be laying at his feet, hovering above his foot. It could be buried underground. Uh, he himself can be partially buried underground. It's one of the funny things about these old perspectives. But but yeah, I think that this insofar as this symbolizes an individual that is that is someone that you're in contact with in your life, could be a man or a woman. Probably, this card suggests a young person, uh, but that could also mean someone who is just inexperienced in a particular field, or just, some people are perpetual children at heart. Um, Now this person could be, this person's evaluation of something that they see as being valuable could be rubbing off on you. This person's aesthetics or evaluations are, becoming an influence. They're an influence on you. And while while they're not necessarily wrong, the thing that they are enamored with or excited about, sure, it could be valuable. But I think it's important to put some serious consideration into the possibility that um, that they're fixated, that they're preoccupied with one thing, and that there's a very good chance that they are surrounded with all sorts of other things that are, you know, potentially of much greater value that they're not seeing because they're so fixed on this thing. Those other things, um, this card would suggest they are, maybe the reason that they're invisible to this individual is because they are too low for them. They're in the dirt. I think in I think there's an old saying in from like alchemy, from alchemy. Um, I think some of those old alchemists had a saying like from what was it? It's something like from the slime virtue or something, but they kind of had this idea that you got to really dig around in like the mud and filth, and that's where you find truth. That's where you find like the really basic things of value that then, as they gain complexity, become more and more familiar to people. But if you want to get at the core, at the root of things, um, but yeah, so a lot of people don't want to get their hands dirty. Just even looking around, like it's not a matter of this person sees the thing, but they're like, oh, I see it. There's some money laying in the mud. Sure, I could pick it up, but then I get my hands dirty. It's not that so much as it is they can't even recognize that there's a resource there because it appears either so common, or another interpretation, I think, is that it's buried under some some sort of cultural narrative of the sacred, or or the immoral, where it's like it's a place you won't even look because you're just you just instinctively know to look away from that place because there's such a rich cultural story or narrative that tells us that that is not something that we should concern ourselves with. Um, and so this person that you're interacting with definitely doesn't see this, and but nonetheless, this person is, this is a figure that stands out, and they're certainly bringing a lot of attention to that thing that they're holding, right? They're like, it's all about this thing. And again, they're not saying there isn't value in that thing, but I like to think of this archetype as representing, the kind of people who get really, really excited about the latest cryptocurrency or some venture capital opportunity. Or they always have that one thing, and then and there's a bunch of them. There's like millions of people exactly like that all over the planet, and then there's that one guy who recognizes that one need they all have in common and creates something and benefits off of whatever they think their idea is of this thing of great value that they've discovered. It's like someone out there is monetizing their breakthrough monetization of something. Um, and then the six of coins. Do I have a neighboring? No. Um, so with this card, I think that sorry, I'm so stuffy by the way. Damn cats, so adorable and cuddly, but so allergy inducing. Um, yeah, there's an element of this card. It doesn't really have anything to do with this picture. I'm going kind of more on the numerological interpretation. There are. Here, I'll flip it back to this one so we don't get distracted with the image. There are random events, a, like a bolt from the blue, some crazy, where in the past it would have been described like situations that used to just be explained as being the will of the gods. It's you would have never predicted it. It's like, a lightning bolt just fucking blows up your house or something. Like, just crazy, also crazy good things. Spontaneously, a whole bunch of things come together, and, a surprise thing like an inheritance, like just some cliche, crazy out of nowhere, an inheritance from like some relative you never even knew you had, or like you forgot that you had some bond that was maturing over the course of 15 years and it just matured. It's like, surprise, you've got all this money that you forgot about. Um, yeah, speaking of cryptocurrency, you read about those people who found an old Bitcoin wallet they forgot they had, and they're like, oh my God, I got $20 million. Um, but yeah, but I think this in a sense describes how like an aspect of, particularly an aspect of something getting destroyed, um, that I think often can have this like hidden opportunity is, the saying like something is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like the synergy that is created when you combine, let's say, four things, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 ends up equaling 5 because there's that synergy there, right? Where does that extra one come from? We don't know, but when we combine these four things, I think this one of the interpretations of this that I like is the opportunity to find a type of reversal of value in an act of destruction, where something that was in one piece before that you thought like, oh, this has value to it. For whatever reason, it disintegrates. You know, it is no longer the singular integrated thing. All of a sudden, it's a bunch of little things. But then you realize that those parts are worth way more separately than when they're assembled. Um, Now, I think some applications of this uh, can be made to the realm of people and interpersonal relationships, more so the kind of one-on-one relationships as opposed to the kind of larger political large groups of people. So socially, it could be something like some group falls apart, but then individuals that you knew through the group are off, are way more interesting now, or they're way more free to behave in some way that before the group was stifling. Maybe it's someone that you knew from work and you both got fired, but now as these individual parts, you've got way more freedom and ability to like benefit from a relationship or a friendship. Um, but yeah, but it could also just be something like, you know, you've had this old car that you got for $1,000 for a while, and it finally died, and it's not useful as a car anymore. But you realize that like you could actually sell the engine for $2,000, and it's got some vintage parts that are actually pretty desirable. And you're like that kind of that kind of an opportunity. And yeah, just as a metaphor to sort of put that idea out there, the parts are worth more than what they were worth in the sum scenario, and it's kind of like a look on the bright side opportunity because it comes during some act of upheaval or destruction or disintegration, right? But yeah, so that's a little, hopefully a positive opportunity there. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to comment. Just noticed, is this guy like really ripped? um, yeah, feel free to comment. Free reading or anything along those lines if you would like to be entered into a weekly draw for a free one-on-one reading. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.